making me.
I'd have built the grain and then the cattle
granary?
farm. Yeah, the granary and the cattle farm. Yeah, fuck the fish. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. Of course, the first thing we all built was the weapons stand and the
barracks.
assassin's torch.
yeah. You built the
Things
the
would
armory, the
you would
blacksmith,
never
and
make in real life.
and the assassin stand. This is
Give
the
me my
important stuff.
gear.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So GameStop. Right.
In the news.
Dude, powder to the players.
GameStop.
Exactly, constant players.
Players.
That was one of the biggest things that happened this week, man. Is the shaftery going on with GameStop.
That's crazy news.
There's a whole lot of things that I've been hearing. Like Mark, did you hear about like how the GameStops all that stuff started?
Yeah. So I know it was a group or individuals online. They saw the list
Wall Street Bets.
Wall Street Bets, the subreddit, supposedly.
Right.
They saw that it was shorted over 100%. So they said, hey guys, this is like a perfect storm situation. No other stocks are shorted this much. So if we buy it and we hold it, we'll make some money. And sure enough, I seen screenshots of people who invested 15,000 in it, and now they have 20 million in stocks.
Gosh.
So it worked. You know what I mean?
But there was a couple other things that went with it, right? Because there was some good news that had just come out for GameStop. So it was kind of already turning in the positive direction.
What
three
was the
pieces
good
of
news?
news that came out for GameStop was, well, the first piece of good news, of course, every single generation cycle when a new console launches, GameStop stock has risen.
Because of their sales and stuff?
Yeah, just
Right.
whenever a new generation launches, GameStop stock rises. Every time it's happened. So, of course, PS5 and Xbox launched, that helped GameStop.
Right.
The second thing that helped GameStop, which we reported on this channel,
Was the Microsoft deal?
agreement with Microsoft that they get a cut of every sale.
Right.
The third thing that happened, which was also really big, was the CEO of Chewy, the online e-commerce
dog store.
He was the one that bought some of that, right?
They're multi-billionaires, those guys. He bought enough of the company to have like a 10-13% share.
Right.
He put himself on the board, and he brought some CEOs from Chewy on the board. And that was a huge deal in a lot of people's eyes because these guys, they understand the e-commerce world. They've made a lot of money.
It literally
and
changed
they
the way
thought they
the
could
company
help.
works.
Yeah, they changed the way, you buy dog food and dog, accessories. And so people were like, well, gosh, that's really great for GameStop. They have people who know how to do this, and maybe they can help transition GameStop into being more e-commerce related.
Yeah.
And you started seeing the stock rise. And so there was already like a little bit of an issue on the short end. What?
Yeah, but I would say those things kind of have, you were seeing maybe like 5%, 10% increases. Not like now where you're seeing 3,000% increases. So I would say, that didn't really have any impact in what
It did have an impact.
Because the reason why is
if you look at the Wall Street Bet guys, they said they're looking for another stock to do this on. And they said some of the things that made it possible for the GameStop was because of those good news. They had good news recently, and their stock was already rising, coupled with it being shorted over 100%.
But the shorted over 100%, that doesn't happen. So that
does happen. Happens all the time.
That doesn't happen often. That's like it was like 140%.
Yes, but that does happen. It does happen.
It does happen.
It's not like never.
It happened with Volkswagen in 2008, and then Porsche bought all the Volkswagen, and they did the same thing. So
there are other companies right now that are shorted over 100%.
No, there's not.
Yeah, I'm sure there are.
There's not.
I mean, I haven't
not.
looked.
The only other one's like 44%, and that's AMC.
Okay, well,
so none of them.
It's not hard to do that.
But it's rare. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, but it's not hard for that to happen though.
But a short is like betting on the company losing, right?
A short is borrowing stock.
Right.
So
at a certain point,
it's
and
like
then
this.
selling
it's like
it.
This.
Yes,
and
but then what happens is
being lower,
right,
and you're getting more money.
If I borrow stock from you, and then I sell it to someone else, and then it gets borrowed again, and then sold and borrowed again, and sold and borrowed again. That stock is now compounded. That one stock has to be returned to all down the line. So you can end up owing more stock than there actually is to actually get from that company.
Yeah.
So it's not hard for something to be shorted over 100%.
I would say it is because these hedge funds.
By hard, I mean it's very easy.
These hedge funds, it's rare that it's going to be in your favor to keep shorting something over 100% and expect to have a return. It doesn't happen as common as you think over 100%.
No,
It's
it's
so
not
risky.
common. I'm
It's
not
so
saying
risky,
it's common
'cause
I'm
you
saying
set yourself
that
up.
the possibility of it to occur is not a difficult thing to occur. It's possible. It's easy for that to occur because people can, if they feel strongly enough
That it's
about,
going to go down because
right,
you only
then
do
you
it.
can keep
You
doing
only
that.
do it when you know when you can with certainty say this company is going to fail, so we're going to do it.
Mhm.
So despite all that good news,
Right. It
the
would
hedge
seem like they
funds
were
were still
on
betting
to still
against it.
crash.
No, but they weren't betting against it before that. They had made their short bets before that good news.
So they've been shorting it for a while,
Mhm.
not just
Yes.
the past
Yes,
week.
they've been shorting it
It's
for a
been a
while.
storm that's been brewing
Right.
and brewing because the
Right.
company's been doing terrible.
Right.
Mhm.
So yeah. So it's just I feel that I personally like what they did because it
Yeah.
shows the flaws in the system. Like Elon Musk made a post that I thought was interesting. He's like, you can't sell a house that you don't own. You can't sell a car that you don't own. How come you can sell stock that you don't own?
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense to me. So for me, it's like I'm glad that these people
No,
are.
buying on margin has always been an issue in the stock.
absolutely.
That's what caused the stock crash of the 1920s was buying on margin.
Because they were buying
People-
houses, right?
Well, no, they were buying on margin is buying on credit. So you're
Yes.
buying stock on
Yes.
credit.
Mhm.
So that means if you don't make money, you owe
Yeah.
major. And
And
so
you have to pay interest.
right. And so it's a major recipe for disaster because people buy too much on credit. And then when the stock crashes, they are done. They're toast. They're over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And when there's a decline in the stock, people panic and everyone sells. And now you have a crash. Right.
Right.
And when a lot of that stock was held up by credit or on margin, people are in the poorhouse for the rest of their life. Right. And so buying on margin should never really exist. Yeah. That shouldn't be something that exists. Like
Yeah.
that is ridiculous.
That
And then it
seems
can
like
be-
some type of a
and that-
gimmick
and
that
that
people
can-
who had lots of good credit
Yeah. And
created so that they could flip that credit into
Well,
more.
and that you can borrow that same stock over and over again is also bizarre. to
Yeah, it
me.
doesn't make sense.
It's so
You know,
weird.
it does. It really doesn't make sense.
It's so weird, man.
Yeah.
It's
But-
like I borrow from you and I sell it to Mark. Someone comes along and borrows that same stock and does it to someone else.
It's because it's all digital.
Dude, that's,
so it's
like,
not
crazy to
anything
me.
physical to like like if you let me borrow Valhalla, Mark can't borrow it too.
Right.
Because there's only one copy.
Right.
Of it.
Yeah.
That's
So
part of the
he
problem
has to
too.
wait until I'm done with it before he can
Yes.
borrow it, or
That's part of the
he
problem,
takes it
too.
and then I don't get to
Yeah.
play with it. But
Yeah.
because it's all digital, it's just place markers. Like you know, it's
I think
nothing.
one thing
Yeah.
cool about this though is that it shows that, of course, that the people really do have a lot more power than you would think that they do
Than the
because
1%?
we are more. We are
Yeah.
a legion,
Yeah.
right? Like if you band together, you can do what
Because
you
if
want.
we all bought one GameStop hypothetically, right? Let's just say it's at 100.
Mm-hmm.
It's at 300, but let's say we all bought one at 300 and we all lost $300. That doesn't hurt us.
Right.
But when there's 5 million of us that did it, and now we're forcing these hedge.
70. It's at 70 billion, right? They've lost 70 billion.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
So,
I
money.
mean, that's with a B. That's an enormous amount of money. You
Yeah.
can't even comprehend that kind of money.
But yeah, so yeah, I think the people have a lot more power, like you're saying, than we think. But at the same time,
But
when
people
you
have
see
but people have to work together in order
Correct.
to utilize that power.
Collaborative-
That's the
Right.
problem, right? You've got like, a couple of handfuls of people who just have gobs of money that can make things move on their own. But,
That's their
trying to
power, is
rally,
their money.
trying to rally like 500, 1,000 people to put, $100
to
into
do.
something is really
Yeah.
tough to do because you have to pray that everybody's got the same,
Willpower.
to
To hold.
withstand the fury like you do. Like if I want to buy
Or the
100
courage.
100 shares
Or
of
the courage to
GameStop.
even put the money in.
Yeah, or just like I want to buy 100 shares of GameStop, and then I want to let it rise. I want to hold it and keep rising. If we all hold, it's just gonna keep rising. But you see
gotta
it and you
hold.
like,
You
damn,
gotta hold. Yeah.
I got
Mhm.
$6,000 off of this. I think I'm gonna pull out before I lose all of this or something like that. You know what I mean? And then the chain starts to crumble. But
It's just funny because like the media cracks me up because they just propagate the problem. They propagate it even more. A lot of us didn't even know about Wall Street bets.
Right.
Now we all do.
now,
and now we all
everybody
join the
knows, and
subreddit.
everybody
and
did it
now
and made
we
it
all
worse.
now they make the army even greater and they propagate the problem.
yeah,
even
it
more.
went from like 3 million people in the subreddit to one morning it was 4 million, and by the end of the day it was 5 million. So
Yeah. That's the thing. This is gonna happen again. Guarantee it.
It needs to.
It's gonna
Yeah.
happen
'Cause
again. You know.
I mean, with this, right? the situation, I enjoy the situation because this opened the world a little bit more to stocks.
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of people don't have a clue of stocks, including me. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing,
Right.
with half of the stuff. I'm watching
Same.
somebody else to see,
Mhm.
what they were talking about, and if they've got enough information that convinced me that I should do the same thing. You know what I mean? And see if we can all plus. But I like that. I could just call like I called my grandmother, or I heard my grandmother's into Bitcoin now. You know what I mean? And there's all these other stocks and stuff, and Dogecoin and all of those things. Like I'm playing
Hey, man,
playing with all
easy
these
money.
little
Oh my
stocks
gosh,
and
that's so
stuff,
funny.
and I'm getting like little wins or whatever, and it's kind of fun when you win.
Well, yeah,
You
it's
know,
like going
but
to Vegas.
yeah, but if you're playing with tidbits of money, little things, and you're making huge wins, if you were to lose off of a tidbit of money, it's not that bad of
Yeah,
a,
but
of
that's
a
the
loss.
that's
but
that's the whole thing with like Vegas and like
yeah,
gambling, right?
right.
Is you keep going. It ends up being something. Yeah, you start
Something
off
you
tidbits and
might
end
lose
up
big,
going, and all
and
of a
you
sudden
might
you're in
win
the
big,
poorhouse, right? Yeah.
right?
So
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
But the problem with this GameStop situation that happened is it showed how much greed corrupts the big corporations, and how much, even though us little guys can band together, that it's rigged against
it's
us.
futile.
Because, for example, on all these apps, these retail, stock trading apps,
like Robinhood.
like Robinhood, they're blocking people
Mhm.
from buying
Mhm.
more of these stocks. They were, putting all these gates to artificially make people panic, sell, drop it, so the hedge funds can, buy their portion
Recoup their
back at a
money.
low cost,
Mhm.
and then they lift the restrictions.
Mhm.
So that's BS,
Yeah,
and that
there's
should
probably
not.
more nuance to that
That should
than
not.
we know, because I mean, like the stock market itself has fail safes built in when too much buying occurs or too much selling occurs that freezes selling and buying. You guys know that
But
there's freezes in selling and buying.
Yeah.
So I don't know all the nuances into that, but yeah, it definitely, this move to stop people from buying the stock benefits the hedge funds more than
yeah,
us. I agree with
because
that.
we can't
But I'm
buy
saying there probably is more nuance there than we know to know the full story.
absolutely. But
Because I do know there's a huge amount of influx of money and there's huge problems with processing,
correct,
and stuff
'cause
like
people
that.
aren't going to be
Right,
able to
and
get
so
paid.
there's difficulties there where you can see, okay, maybe why they might want to just stop this. But it definitely is in the benefit of the hedge funds. I agree. Yeah.
But this is not a new problem. This happens every time. This happens every day. Every day there's some sort of like hot situation. Every day there's, but it was just this.
Not every day there's 1,900% increase in value.
Yeah, no,
But I know what you mean.
Well, I mean, this day to day, it's like maybe a couple 100%.
Right.
Over a month, it's like
Right.
3,000%. But my point is, there's opportunity always there. There's thousands and thousands and probably millions of transactions that go on a minute, no matter what, GameStop or not.
But
So
this is a huge boost.
this
than
is a huge
normal.
boost for the
Yeah.
retail, for the
But
average man.
I feel like this
Right.
got way more
Well,
eyes than it
and
needed
and
to.
in processing. Right.
I mean,
There's
I
a
don't have
huge
the
boost in
exact-
now. Now all of us, now Joe Schmoes are all hopping on. It's like, to me, honestly, it reminded me of the PS5, right? Like everyone's trying to jump on the train and grab one,
Yeah.
Right.
and like you might have got lucky,
Mhm.
right? You might have got lucky, and
Yeah.
some people got lucky and they struck
Yeah.
rich, but everyone's trying to jump on the train now.
Yeah. But
you know?
I didn't like that. Now, before you could do instant deposits, and now they're not giving you your instant deposits. Now they're taking forever to approve your account. So they're really gatekeeping this out.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They're really stopping. So this week I didn't mess with GameStop because
It was too
I
high for
was
me to jump in.
I missed the mark, so I didn't even want to get involved. But AMC and BlackBerry, they didn't even short. It's not in the 100%. It's not
Mhm.
even close. But on Wall Street Bets, they were talking about both of those. So I
Mhm.
was buying
AMC.
both AMC and BlackBerry. But I don't do what everyone does. I don't hold. I get 10% wins. So I was, I bought,
When
BlackBerry.
you were up 10%, you sold. Right?
Correct. And I just keep redoing that,
Mhm.
so I make maybe $200, $300 a day, and I'm happy.
Mhm.
So that's my strategy. But the problem is freaking these apps. I got into Dogecoin because on Wall Street Bets, Marcus can talk about this in a minute.
Yeah.
Everyone was rallying Dogecoin. Crypto is completely different than stock
Mhm.
because the pool is not limited like it
Mhm.
is. There's no really outside influences. It's
Well,
completely
Dogecoin
different.
isn't limited, but
No, that's what I'm saying.
Bitcoin is limited.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Crypto is completely different than
Yeah.
stocks. So it's a lot more volatile, but
Mhm.
everyone on Wall Street Bets was going crazy about Dogecoin.
Mm-hmm.
So I was making easy money. I was making easy money on Dogecoin, but freaking Robinhood, up to its antics, it's blocking you from selling Dogecoin. It's canceling my orders, my sales that go through. So it's just
Here's the thing with Robinhood, they're losing a lot of money because they're propped up by these hedge funds that are losing lots of money.
they had to borrow.
So I think this is just kind of a theory of, I guess it's just a theory that I think that it's cheaper for them to fight lawsuits.
Absolutely.
So they much rather just shut
Than to
it
give
down
up all
and
the
screw
money.
you and fight you on the lawsuits or how many lawsuits they get than lose the billions that they're losing.
For
so
sure.
it doesn't matter to them. Like they know what they're doing is probably they're gonna lose. They're probably gonna lose in court. They know that. I think that they will, obviously. But that doesn't matter to them. They know that those losses are going to be much smaller than the losses they would get from what's going on right now with the shenanigans.
Yeah.
you
I would
know?
just hope that that in the losses that there's some new rules or regulations that are created that would prevent this type of thing. Because I mean, it's like literally like the app, the way stocks getting traded was literally changing, by the
the
hour.
second.
Like, in the morning, I hear, oh, Dogecoin is gonna go up. Like everybody jumping to Dogecoin. Elon Musk tweets Dogecoin. Okay, bet. So I do my instant deposit of $50 or whatever, and I try to buy Dogecoin with my instant deposit. There's a limit. Never had a limit before on how much I could admit to do with my instant deposit, but I'm limited to $25 is the max I can do, and then they take a couple of change from that or whatever. So to buy cryptocurrency, so all I can put in is $24.99 in Dogecoin, to get my 1,000 shares or whatever. Within 2 hours, they made it so you could not use instant deposit. You had to use actual cash that was already in your Robinhood account to purchase any cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or Dogecoin. So at that point now, you've totally gimped it. So nobody who's just seeing this can jump in now. So you had to have had money already in some other stocks, maybe sold those stocks, and then invested that in Dogecoin to be able to come up. So that's already kind of WTF. Then on top of that, now I don't know if this is because the app has never experienced this much traffic at one time or whatnot, but they were making it so the stocks are down right now. You can't sell or do anything like that until a certain time.
Yeah, so you can't sell this until 250.
All of a sudden now it's like I can't make normal transactions that I've been making. So we'll try to chalk that up to it being that there was so much traffic on the app, and this is literally the only app that carries Dogecoin that you can purchase off of.
I love you, me.